all right, we got to move on. We'll talk about Daredevil. Because this is something that came into the news when Charlie Cox has been talking about Daredevil. And before I get into what he actually said, way back when he first got rehired as Daredevil, he said, it's a different Daredevil. He goes, it's not the same guy. Yeah, he may look the same. Yeah, his costume's very similar, but he's not really the same guy. But then, playing William Fisk, I mean, you're hearing that, what's his name? I'm going blank. Who plays William Fisk? D'Onofrio. Yeah, D'Onofrio. D'Onofrio says it's the same Fisk. And he's like, no, it's the same universe. It's just been after the blip. Well, now, after they started shooting they're starting to shoot Daredevil. And this is what Charlie Cox has to say about the character.
I don't think it's a different character. I just think it's maybe a different period of his life. I don't think my interpretation will change. They hired the same actor. We're saying this is a whole new era or variant. I haven't read the script, so I don't know, but it's like part of the multiverse.
Yeah, it's funny that it just changed now. But the thing is, they were saying before that it's the same characters. It's the same. They're recasting. They're not recasting. They're keeping the same people. Yeah, they're tweaking little things to make it fit into the Disney universe as opposed to back on the Netflix universe they used to be involved with. But the character is very similar. But there are a lot of differences, too. When you watch She-Hulk, like, I don't know, Mike, have you seen She-Hulk?
Yeah, I caught most of them, and I was cooking in the background while the last 3 episodes where everything gets all crazy meta, which of course I appreciate, and just getting to see more Daredevil. Like the original Netflix series was terrific, and I think he's a very different hero than anybody else in the Marvel universe, and I think you can tell different stories with him. So I don't think that they would throw that opportunity away.
But did you see him in the She-Hulk episodes? Actually, his performance and how he was.
Not that I can remember, like a little bit.
Yeah, because he comes in there, and spoiler alert, if you haven't watched She-Hulk, but he comes in, and he's like the love interest to She-Hulk, pretty much. He even does the Daredevil walk of shame, where he's carrying his boots, and he's walking out of her house, walking home after they hook up. So there's a little bit more comedy there. Yes, he does kick ass, like he did in the other show. They have like a whole hallway scene, which I think was a nod to the Netflix show, like him kicking some ass in the hallway. Kind of like he had that one take where they're pulling back and he's kicking people's ass and going in different rooms and stuff. So they tried to recreate that for it, but he's very different in a lot of ways. I'm going to go to Sabrina about this because I know she saw him. Sabrina, do you think that what he's saying is true? Do you think that he is the same Daredevil, or do you think they have changed it quite a bit where it might be muddled a little bit, where he might not actually be the exact same character?
I mean, honestly, if they're hiring all the same actors, I feel like it's going to be the same character to an extent. I think they have to tone down the violence because the Netflix show was super violent and there was a lot of crazy ass kicking, bloodshed, like straight up murder. And I don't think Disney Plus is really going to support that type of thing because it's their whole Marvel situation is, like geared towards a younger audience. So I don't think that they're going to allow that shit that Netflix allowed. So I think that's going to be part of the changes. The other interesting thing is that they ordered 18 episodes.
Big count.
Like most of those Marvel shows were 6 episodes. That She-Hulk, I think, was 9 episodes, but they were half hours, the She-Hulk. So it was short. But I think that his character was different in She-Hulk because that was the tone of the show. Like it was a funny comedy where she breaks the fourth wall, and it's very lighthearted, and all that. It was that type of format. So for him to go in and play like the brooding, quiet, murderer that he plays in the Netflix show would not work. Yeah. So they had a little bit more. Plus, even if he was that same exact person, if he was with someone like her who is very off the cuff and very mouthy and stuff, he would have to interact with her in some way, shape, or form. So that her lightheartedness could affect him in that way, where it's believable to me that he's even the same person. So I just think they're just going to make it a little bit more family friendly. I don't necessarily think that it's going to be a different character.
Yeah, and Jacob, as you we had a comment from Jacob in the social posts, and yeah, Jacob, if you watch it though, he doesn't come into like the last 2 episodes or something like that, so it's not like he's in the whole show. They kind of showed him in a bunch of ads, and even though he wasn't really in it, they show like his helmet in one episode, like, oh, we're hinting at it, and they get to him later on without giving too much away, because you're probably gonna have a little bit of spoiler stuff here. But his performance was still great, and it's like it was fun. It was a little bit more lighthearted, but you could tell that he was still playing it the same way, kind of like in Spider-Man: No Way Home. It was still kind of there. And so when
I feel like in No Way Home, he was much more like the Netflix character.
He was much more. Yeah,
he was in She-Hulk for sure.
Yeah, I'm a very good lawyer. You know, like stuff like that. Like his tone was like so well, like spot on for that. And it's interesting to see, like, okay, you got D'Onofrio back, you got Charlie Cox back.
I love.
Are you gonna get Foggy back? Are you gonna get Karen back? Like, are you gonna have the same cast, or is it just gonna be them? They still haven't confirmed. I mean, they have 18 episodes. And they're saying this might be after the blip. That was a whole thing going on. So maybe they disappeared and came back, and now that's why things are different. Maybe they're not in the same points in their life. We'll have to wait and see when the actual show comes out. But I had a feeling it was the same character. D'Onofrio said off the bat, when D'Onofrio did Hawkeye, he was in Hawkeye. If you haven't seen Hawkeye out there, everybody, D'Onofrio comes back as Kingpin in that. And he has the same suit. He has the same stature. He does kick a lot more ass, and D'Onofrio says, "Oh no, my character always kicked that much ass," but he's like flying through the air like Superman, and like doing super punches, like bam, like shit like that. And to me, I'm like, he just seemed so much stronger. I'm like, that's not the same character. D'Onofrio's like, yeah, same character, guys. So I think they're just tweaking it, like Sabrina said. They have to tweak it a little bit. You have to make it a little different.
That's Kingpin, man. Kingpin's out there kicking ass. Sabrina, I think you make a strong point with the 18 episodes. Like, I think that's really exciting. Charlie Cox strikes me as an incredibly thoughtful actor. Like, I really enjoy his performance as well. And that I do think that 18 episodes is very suggestive that they are turning a corner just in terms of maybe stretching out the stories, like as a legal procedural show. Which would make sense, like in the Marvel universe, just trying to expand the kinds of stories that it can tell. So I wouldn't be surprised to see something that's a little bit more episodic payoffs, but then with 2 or 3 grander arcs, and that might be one of the ways that you see. Okay, well, it is a different Daredevil because we're seeing a different side of his life, really, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wonder if She-Hulk's going to pop up.
I have a feeling she will.
Crossover. Keep bringing me crossovers all day long. I'm here for it.
I mean, the way they let it up, they set everything up so it's like, oh, is she going to maybe come back to him? Is he going to come back to her? Like the fact that he came back in the last episode, spoiler, was kind of setting it more up that there might be something in the future. And I feel like Marvel is trying to do that more and more. Like, why not? Like, cross it over. This is a new phase.
Well, it's smart. It's like if you like one show, then you're like, wait a minute, oh, who's this Daredevil guy? Now I'm going to go watch Daredevil because I liked him in She-Hulk. And like it's they're building, and also with the multiverse, literally anything goes now. But for anyone who watched one thing and didn't watch another thing, that opens the door for them to watch all of their other stuff. So it's really a smart move by Marvel. You can't fault them for it.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about Daredevil. When I heard it was 18 episodes too, I was like, bring it on.
I know, that's crazy for Disney+.
Bring it on. Well, that just shows you how much faith they have in it and how much they know that the original show was so well done and these characters and their performance was so phenomenal that, it's
and
easy
also,
to just do
all
it.
these Marvel shows are so successful for them.
Yeah.
All of them.
And they should be longer, their shows. They should be longer. Moon Knight was too short. I mean,
Moon Knight was great.
Yeah, but it was too short,
longer,
I think.
Though.
I wish it was longer. And Oscar Isaac brought that shit,
He's
like,
so
you
good.
You never know when you're putting in an order for the show, though, right? Like we've seen that pullback in the number of episodes, and I guess it's more like the British model. If people want more of a character, then they'll demand it. Like we're just, and it's the same thing with Chelsea lately. Like the way that we view TV is different. We're just not tied to what's being broadcast on the waves anymore. So we don't need to do stuff on other people's time. So we can just explore these different, like I watch Star Trek Next Generation or whatever, and there's so much freaking filler in there. Like I love Star Trek, but there's a lot of filler just because that's the way that the format was demanded. So there are shows like Moon Knight, like, you could have told 4 more episodes of stories, 5 more episodes of stories because it was a really believable world. But I don't know that the people that are writing the checks have that level of confidence off the bat, or what it takes to get that bigger check. And either way,
Especially for a show that's so in a character that's not that well known.
Totally.
And you have a great actor, of course, but I mean, Moon Knight in comparison to like Captain America or Iron Man, you know what I mean? I didn't really know what Moon Knight was until this happened. I was like, and I started doing a bunch of research, and I'm like, oh, this is a cool character. He's kind of, but there's adaptations of him, like one version is very much like Batman, and this version goes completely different into the mythological aspect of it, which is actually really cool. I love the Egyptian aspect of it. I thought it was a lot of fun. So, and then Oscar Isaac even said, he goes, when we were shooting this, I didn't know like if this was gonna break my career or make it, because he said he was putting himself out there and he felt so vulnerable playing all these different characters. But even at the very end, you finally get to see his third personality for like a brief second, So there's so much more that can go into that. Even though we saw him at different times, we didn't know that was him, or maybe it was a blackout moment that it was him. And that whole psychological aspect's really fun for me. So I hear this rumor they're coming back for more. They've been scouting in Egypt again.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, I think so too. They've been scouting in Egypt, and they were talking to them. The director was talking to somebody, I guess he was out in the streets, and they were doing a scout, and he was like, "Well, I don't know what to tell you what we're doing. We're scouting for something."
How do you gauge the success of something like that aside from reading the buzz online? Because now that it's streaming, like the numbers are so on lockdown, like.
I know they keep them home, but I mean it's still click based. They can still see the numbers, how many times it's been clicked on.
Yeah.
They also look at how many new subscriptions they get when a show drops. That's a big thing for them. But to me, that doesn't really work that well, because if you think about it, you have a built-in audience, and once you have so many people in the system, it's hard to get more people in it.
Right.
And people are sharing passwords and all that. But to me, it's just keep your people happy. And right now we don't do that, but keep your people happy. And then give them great content, and they'll stay and keep paying you that $4.99 or was it $8.49 a month?
It's simple. Just give us great content. That's all we want.
$8.99. We talked about this before. About $8.99 and like $11 or something like that. They're doing ad tier too.
Just don't give me the freaking ads, man. Like I'll pay you as much money as you want. Just I don't want to have commercials in my life anymore.
I know, but look at what happened on Netflix though. And of course, they're going to make a lot of ad revenue doing this. But a lot of people actually switched to the cheaper ad tier once it came available that were already members. A lot of people. And so they're losing money right there, because now people are paying half amount, because it's like $16 a month. They're going down to like $8. So they're losing that money. But hopefully, ideally, they will make that up in the ad revenue. But how much more are they going to make up? That's the question. Is it going to be a good trade-off? I don't know. It's a lot of people do that for a break. They don't want to spend $18 a month or something like this. A lot of money.
Well, I mean, the problem is because you have Disney Plus, you have Hulu, you have Apple TV, you have Netflix. I mean, you're paying for all of them. You might as well just get DirecTV and have every friggin' channel. But guess what? Then you still don't get any of the original content. So you're kind of up against the wall. Like,
well, I think we just remember the good old days of the beginning of Netflix, right?
Yeah, how it used to be. Get those DVDs in the mail. I remember when streaming became available, I was like, immediately, I'm like, this is what I want. I don't want to wait for that disc to come in the mail. I don't want to return it. I got to have that slip. I put it back in, pop in the mailbox, good to go. But like, still, the instant.
Yeah, but that's all fine. That was before original programming. Now they all have their own original shows. You can only watch certain shows on Hulu. Mm-hmm. You can only watch certain shows on Netflix. You can only watch certain shows on Disney Plus. So if you like, only Murders in the Building, you have to have Hulu. And if you like all this Marvel stuff, you have to have Disney Plus. If you like the morning show, you have to have Apple TV and Ted Lasso. Right. Like, I mean, the way that it's structured now, you can't, because they're all different entities. So you're paying 4 or 5 different streaming services every month. It costs a lot of money.
Jacob, right on, man. Still have the DVD subscription. Yeah, this guy knows how to do it.
I didn't know
I didn't even know that was the thing
Jake does.
Yeah, that's awesome. Jacob will be here with us tomorrow too, by the way. So we'll have to ask him about that some more tomorrow. I didn't know it still existed.
I can't wait to hear.